Hello, I'm Mark Cohen, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. And I sat down with CSX Corporation, one of the leading transportation suppliers that is growth-oriented and forward-thinking. The network encompasses about 20,000 route miles of track in 26 states, along with District of Columbia, Quebec, and Ontario. The network serves some of the largest population centers in the nation. I sat down with the leadership team to discuss their vision, challenges, and how they're navigating the future, and more importantly, delivering value to their customer. I'm here with Joe Hinrichs, who's CSX President and CEO. Welcome.
Mark, good to see you. Thanks for being
here. Glad you're here. Joe, our audience wants to know, those who are not aware of CSX, what's your elevator speech? What services do you offer? Who is CSX?
Well, CSX is the largest railroad in the eastern United States. Basically, the way the U.S. is set up, there's 2 Class I railroads in the east and 2 Class I railroads in the west, all about along the Mississippi River, basically, the way it was set up years ago by the government. And so we're the largest revenue railroad east of the Mississippi, the 26 states, about 2/3 of the U.S. population, plus Canada, Ontario, and Quebec. And we basically move everything through rail that you would find. We own 21,000 miles of track in that part of the United States, plus about 23,000 employees. We also own a trucking company in Tampa called Quality Carriers. But our biggest business is moving transportation goods by rail. And we reformed the CNS of CSX, or chassis seaboard. So the chassis system, which was the CAT locomotive in the northeast, and then seaboard, which was the southern-based railroad, actually headquartered here over time, became chassis seaboard X CSX, and that's how 45 years ago, that's how we came to life.
That's great. Much of your leadership platform has been focused on cultural transformation. So talk about that, your view on how culture impacts service and what that means to CSX.
Yes, I spent 30 years in the auto industry, so I was a customer of rail for decades. And what I observed from that perspective was that the railroads weren't as customer-centric as you would like them to be. And our belief is that the best customer service organizations in the world focus on their employees and their culture, because that's where the service comes from. We don't design a product. We don't sell a product like a watch or a car or clothing or whatever. We actually provide a service of moving goods from point A to point B. And so you need the employees to be engaged in wanting to serve that customer. And that starts with culture. It starts with the same values and priorities, and also having employees feel respected, included, and that they want to serve. They want to be a part of that and create that environment of success for themselves and for the customer. So that's why we focus so much on culture, because the railroads, we're 197 years old. We've been around a long time, can be set in our ways. There's a lot of history of labor strife in the rail industry. To break through that, we need to change the culture of how management and labor works together in service of our customers, our communities, and also providing a safe experience for both our employees and the goods we transfer.
Well, you can certainly feel the excitement when you talk about your people. You can tell right away about that. I understand you serve multiple advisory and board roles with a variety of companies, including several tech companies. I would imagine that helps position you as an out-of-box driver of innovation, investing efforts in GPS and other telematic technologies. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think my history in the auto industry helps as well, which is you have to advance technology. I have this saying I like to say, which is basically technology is undefeated over time. You can't fight it.
That's good.
And so we have to embrace technology to move us forward in safety and service and efficiency, the things people expect of us. And for us as a railroad, we can't be set in our ways. Yes, we have all this track, all these 21,000 miles of track, and we have our locomotives, et cetera. But how do we keep advancing on behalf of our company, our employees, our customers, and society? That involves everything from hydrogen locomotives that we're working on in partnership with CPKC, a Western railroad, or that involves also everything we do with inspection, bearing detectors, heat detectors, using cameras to look for safety, using drones to look for things. But all these startup companies I've been involved with, especially the couple of years I was retired between Ford and here, have really shown me there aren't many solutions, there aren't many challenges out there that can't be solved by technology. We have to embrace it and find a way to make it work for us, and that's what we're trying to do here at CSX.
Well, then a follow-up question, really, how do you leverage data analytics to optimize logistics and supply chain management? And what impact has that had on your operational performance?
I don't think people really realize just how much of a network effect there is in the railroad industry. We're kind of like the airline industry on steroids because we're all connected. And so when you're making decisions, you have to have data that can simulate and see the different scenarios, because you may be making a decision in Toledo, Ohio, that impacts a train or multiple trains that go all the way down to Florida. And so if we just make decisions locally, that we're going to try and sub-optimize things. But if you have a data and analytics, even AI and simulations you can run, the best decision for the whole network is to do this. And that's what we're trying to embrace and trying to bring about. In the old days, you made decisions locally by yard across the whole network and then hoped it all worked its way through. And we're trying to get to a network level of decision-making, which means a lot of data, it means a lot of algorithms and a lot of capability to optimize the system, not just the local performance.
Well, then, how is CSX looking at integration of advanced technologies such as AI, as you mentioned, and IoT, transform that into logistics operations?
Yes, so the first thing we need to do is have the data and create an environment where we can have the data that we need. I found it fascinating when I got here a little less than 2 years ago that the only thing that we know where it is located on our network are the locomotives. They have GPS locators on them, but all the cars did not. So auto racks and coal cars and intermodal, no. So we basically assume that what's on that train is where it is because the locomotive's there. We got to change that, and that's where RailPulse and other organizations are part of embracing technology to make that happen. At the end of the day, we've got to have the data in real time to be able to know what's going on in our network with every single shipment and then make decisions accordingly. And that's what we're trying to embrace. And then you talk about AI. At the end of the day, our whole network system should have an algorithm and AI, artificial intelligence in the background, looking to optimize decision-making, optimizing the network. Not taking away all those decisions from humans, but supplementing and optimizing, because computers can run a lot more simulations than our brains can do at any time. And that's what we're trying to embrace. A new dispatch system, which oversees our whole network. We have that being put into place. We're moving all our data to the cloud. We're doing all the infrastructure things you need to do to set yourself up for success for AI and machine learning in the future.
We know that innovation is extremely important to CSX. So if you could, tell us about maybe an innovative solution your company has implemented most recently that improves efficiency or customer satisfaction.
Yeah, so we created an organization called Innovation X, basically an R&D group inside our company to start looking at problems that we have and saying, what technologies out there that could help solve them. So we're doing things like we now have train inspection portals where when the train is running by at full speed, all these cameras, like going through a car wash, all these cameras are looking at the train, making sure all the connections are made, nothing's hanging, nothing's loose, in real time, 50 miles an hour. And AI is learning each time we do that to look for things that could be wrong or to make sure that things are right. That's something we've implemented. We have 3 of those portals in now, and we're putting more in place. That's an example of what we're doing. But we're also challenging ourselves to say, what are the real life situations that we deal with every day that we've been dealing with for 100 years that we shouldn't accept anymore? I'll give you an example. Railroad crossings. So every day on our network, somewhere, almost on average, a car tries to beat a train across the railroad tracks and gets hit, almost daily. How do we stop that from happening and not accept it? It's not our fault because our train can't stop on a dime. We have the gates down, the bells are ringing, the lights are on, everything, but somebody tries to get on. Sometimes people get fatally injured when that happens. So we're actually using technology right now, cameras or other types of radar, LiDAR, et cetera, to say, how do we not let that happen? What do we physically need to do? Can we get the car and not physically be able to drive over those railroad tracks if the gates are down? How do we think differently about technology that exists today to say, we don't have to accept this anymore. We shouldn't accept it anymore. How do we be part of that solution?
Joe, what emerging trends do you believe that will affect the most significant impact on logistic industry over the next 5 years? What trend are you the most excited about?
I'm excited about several, but probably the most impactful is visibility. We talked about it, about getting connectivity and knowledge of where everything is. People tell me all the time, I can order a pencil from Amazon and know where it is, or UPS knows exactly where it is along the way, but my vehicle, when I get shipped from the factory, is on a rail car, and somewhere it exists until it gets to its location. I mean, we know what train it's on, we hope, but we don't know that. And so how do we embrace this notion of knowing where everything is all the time to help our efficiency, but also our customer service, visibility? They know exactly where it is, when it's coming, et cetera. That's a big customer want. Another thing I'm very excited about is what we're doing on safety, just for everything from the industry standpoint and even at CSX, both culturally and technology-wise. is this industry accepts too many injuries and too many other things that it doesn't have to. Our industry can get better, and we need to get better. And because we move hazardous materials, because we move so many things, it's in society's interest and, of course, our interest to keep getting better.
Joe, from safety to another ESG topic, sustainability. CSX was recently named one of America's 2024 climate leaders. How is CSX leading the charge in creating a sustainable future in the rail industry?
Yeah, it's a great, important topic. I mean, I don't think people really realize just how important rail is to this topic. For example, we can move a ton of goods, 2,000 pounds of goods, 500 miles on 1 gallon of diesel fuel. So rail is about 4 to 5 times more efficient for the environment than trucking. Now, most goods get moved by truck, but actually, if we can get more business on rail, it's better for the environment by multiples, and it's very important. But what we're doing in addition to that, because that's the inherent advantage of rail, because we have steel wheels, we don't stop, we're not in traffic, we don't steer. But in addition to that, we're working on hydrogen locomotives for the future, so zero-emission locomotives. We're testing hybrid electric locomotives in our Curtis Bay facility up in Baltimore, and we're actually using biodiesel fuel on our fleet in Central Florida, and that's been going very well. So we're not just satisfied being a climate leader and being where we are. We know that there are advances in technology that can make it even more efficient for the environment, but importantly, the best thing we can do to help the environment is to be more efficient and be better serving our customers so that more customers move goods from trucking to rail. It's safer for society, it's better for the environment, lower cost, and it's our infrastructure. So taxpayers don't pay for that infrastructure, they pay for the roads. So all those things are advantages for rail. It's on us to be more efficient, to serve our customers, to get them interested in putting more work on rail, which will also improve the environment.
Joe, I've really enjoyed your passion and your excitement for your business, and I've learned a lot myself. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
All righty.
Appreciate it, Mark.
Thanks.